Welcome back to Normal Baseball. We are officially halfway through the MLB offseason. Let's talk about it. What is going on? Welcome back to yet another episode of the Normal Baseball Podcast. I'm Alex Normal Dog. That's Lewis. And today we are back with more news. Baseball is happening.
Of course.
We love baseball. That's what we do here.
Funnily enough.
In case everyone doesn't know. But yeah, we got some more news, some more stuff going on. Like we were saying, obviously. I'm excited. It's been a fun week of news, I guess. It's been one of the slower weeks, but when you really look at it, a decent bit has happened. So let's get into it. How are you feeling? We're officially halfway through the MLB offseason.
I mean,
which is great.
It kind of feels like when you hit the shortest day of the year, and then the days start getting a little bit longer every single day after that. That's how it feels right now. Like we're just ramping up to hit baseball season, and I'm getting more and more excited by the day.
Me too. I'm really excited. Obviously, baseball is what we do. So opening day is kind of what we look forward to. There's more. What I mean by halfway is that there's more days until opening day than there were from the last game of the World Series. So it's exciting times. If we want to just get right into it here, Andrew McCutchen is back on the Pittsburgh Pirates, the place where it all began for Kutch. He had the prime of his career in Pittsburgh. He agreed on a one-year deal. I don't know the money. Do you know the money of that deal?
I don't know it either. I can try to look it up really quick here.
Yeah, but Kutch is back. Obviously, his best years were with the Pirates. Since being on the Pirates, he's been on the Giants, the Yankees, and the Phillies. It makes sense. This reunion makes sense. I think a lot of people wanted it, which I can't blame them. The Pirates have done some things this offseason, I guess, but they getting Kutch back was a good thing for the fans, good thing for the morale of the team. Just it's their guy. Kutch is their guy, and they got him back. Glad to see it.
It's a 1-year, $5 million contract, so nothing too crazy for the Pirates, to be expected. They don't really like to spend like crazy. But good for Andrew McCutchen. Good for the Pirates. Everything that Alex just said is more than true.
Yeah, I'm excited to see him back in Pittsburgh. Do we think this might be his last year in the major leagues? Rather, do we think this will be his final season?
As sad as it is to think about, I do think that this is his last season. I think he's just taken one last, kind of victory lap with the Pirates, the team that he won an MVP with. It's a little bit upsetting to think about. I don't think that he'll announce it, just because I don't think Andrew McCutchen is a very in the middle of the media type of guy, and I know that will cause a lot of attention to be brought to him as a former MVP, as one of a plethora of great players in this league that it has seen. Definitely think that he's not going to be announcing his retirement until the end of the season.
Really? I don't really think that he's going to retire.
Really?
No, I think he's either looking to revive his career, because he obviously didn't have a great year in Milwaukee last year,
mm-hmm.
or if he does bad this year, I think he might just then call it quits. I think depending on how he plays this year, depends on if he retires or not. I could be very wrong, but in my head, that's what makes sense the most. So that's what I'm going with.
All right. I think I can understand that. Oh, excuse me. I can definitely understand that, but like I said, we will see. Only time will tell. But I do think by the end of the season, I think he's going to be 37 years old, if I'm not mistaken.
I mean,
because right now he is 36. It'll be close. He'll be almost 37 by the time the season ends, and we know that his production has fallen off, which is upsetting to think about. But if he does have more left in the tank, Coach, keep going. Just keep going.
Yeah, I mean, maybe it's going to have something to do with the fact that he's back in Pittsburgh. I mean, with the Pirates, 5-time All-Star, won an MVP in 2013, was top 5 in MVP voting 3 other times, won 4 Silver Sluggers, a Gold Glove. I don't know. Maybe the atmosphere is going to help him out this season, but that's something only time will tell. For now, we could just be happy that Kutch is back with the Pirates where it kind of feels right. So for now, we'll just be happy about that.
Yeah, I agree with you. There's no better place for Andrew McCutchen to be than the Pittsburgh Pirates, and it's that cut and dry.
I agree. So that's Kutch. I mean, the Pirates now, they've signed Carlos Santana this season. They've signed Andrew McCutchen.
They traded for what's his name? First baseman,
G-Man Choi.
G-Man Choi.
They traded for G-Man Choi. They signed Austin Hedges. They traded for Connor Joe. They signed Rich Hill. They signed Vince Velasquez. The Pirates actually made a couple moves this offseason, more than they've probably made in the last couple of offseasons. Do I think it's going to be very fun to watch the Pirates?
Who the hell knows?
Maybe. They could come out as...
Well, they do still have O'Neal Cruz.
They do still have O'Neal Cruz, and they have Dick Mountain. Brian Hayes, obviously, one of the best third basemen in baseball. Top 15, top 10 sometimes. I think the Pirates could be a sneaky, fun team to watch. I'm not saying they're going to compete for their division, but I do think they could be a sneaky, fun team to watch this season.
Yeah, they'll definitely be fun to watch. I mean, I know I'm going to be watching a lot of O'Neal Cruz, personally. And if they do have a somewhat competent roster around him, with Brian Hayes, with Brian Reynolds, with now Andrew McCutchen, you know, the team looks pretty good. It looks fun, and hopefully they can stay in ball games and make everything more entertaining.
I agree. Entertainment is the main goal in Pittsburgh this season because they are in a bad division, but I still don't think they're going to compete. But make it exciting for everyone in Pittsburgh. They deserve it after the kind of years they've had recently. So,
oh yeah,
good for the Pirates. Good for Andrew McCutchen. It's kind of a feel-good story. Another feel-good story that comes out of the East is Rafael Devers.
Now that's a feel-good story.
Extending with the Boston Red Sox officially, 11 years, $331 million. Good for Raffy. Shit ton of money. Love to see it.
Yeah, Boston finally gets their guy. I think that we spoke about this last episode as well.
We did, but since then he officially signed the deal, and it's all done.
I mean, the Red Sox have done a beautiful job of marketing it, of like, hey, this is our guy. I mean, hell, they changed their social media profile pictures to Rafael Devers. He was at the Celtics game when the contract became official. Basically, that just means that all the doctors looked over his physicals and made sure that everything was set. And after doing all that, I mean, TD Garden blew up with just like Let's Go Red Sox, Raffy chants, guys who were sitting around him while he was sitting courtside were even shaking his hand, saying thank you. It was a pretty cool thing to see. You don't really get to experience that too often, of like your initial reaction to having your player signed, like the cornerstone of your franchise signed long term, while they're experiencing something else within your city.
I agree. There's an interesting situation going on in Boston right now because obviously now they have Raffy for a long time, and as they should. We talked about that whole thing last episode about a feel-good story and all that. But they also signed Adam Duvall just this morning to a 1-year, $7 million contract. Their lineup to me is pretty interesting. Their outfielders now, they have Masataka Yoshida, who we know is going to be starting in left field. Mm-hmm. They have Alex Verdugo, who we know is going to be starting in right field. Jarren Duran, who we know is going to be starting in center field, or we can only assume because Adam Duvall cannot play center field.
Yeah.
My question becomes, what happens with Adam Duvall? And they also agreed to Jorge Alfaro. signed him. He's a non-roster invitee to spring training. I think that's a good move as well. But my question is, obviously they have Rafi playing third. Justin Turner is also on the team. People were saying he's going to DH, but now they also have Adam Duvall, who is a perfectly capable DH in this league. What do they do with Justin Turner and Adam Duvall? I mean, are they going to split time? That doesn't feel right with the type of players that they are.
So, I think that we're going to see Adam Duvall platoon with Yoshi, basically. I think we're going to see them platoon just because it has been said all over the internet plenty of times that Yoshi is a very, very below average defender. And that will play in left field at Fenway Park because you do have I think it's 310 right down the line, but there is a giant wall. The Green Monster is there. So when they're
That's
on
in
the
right field. Oh, no, that's on left. Sorry. My bad. I just had a brain fart. My bad.
But when they are, let's just say on the road, they're going to, I don't know, like Milwaukee, or they're going to San Francisco, bigger outfields, I think we could see Adam Duvall step in, who might not be a massive upgrade from Yoshi, but certainly can be. But it all depends on how the season goes. And if, let's just say, Yoshi does have good defense in the MLB, and people were kind of over-exaggerating how bad his defense was, I think that Adam Duvall could be either a trade piece or it could be the everyday DH.
I can't get over you calling him Yoshi. But that still, where does Justin Turner play in that situation?
You like swap the DHs.
Justin Turner is still too.
Could Justin Turner play first base?
I don't think he will be. I think Casas is going to be playing first base probably for most of the season.
We're going to have to figure this one out.
They're going to give young guys a shot. I don't really know. They have, like, some of their positional stuff doesn't make too much sense, but I think there is a world where they work that out. Well, obviously they're going to have to work that out. It just feels a little weird having Justin Turner a bench guy. Because with the signing of Duvall, I feel like they would want Duvall there. Although Duvall's numbers were down last year. I mean, he batted 213, which is kind of normal. He always bats on the lower side of the average. But OPS of under 700, which compared to 2021, 2020, 2019, compared to the past couple of years, not great for Adam Duvall. I still do think he has the capabilities, though, so we'll see what they decide to do. But I think overall it's a good signing, and I really also do like the signing of Jorge Alfaro for this team because Jorge Alfaro could be a sneaky good player. Sneaky good. I mean, personally, I'd rather him start than Reese McGuire on my team.
I agree. I don't think Reese McGuire is the answer behind the plate.
Alfaro is I don't know how good his defense is, but he's very fast. I think he has the potential. He's younger. Well, he's not younger. I take that back. I think he does have the potential though. So we'll see. This team. I don't think the Red Sox are going to be competing, but I think that they have a different looking team than last year, and I think fans should be pretty excited to see it.
I agree. I think if you are a Red Sox fan, look forward to the season, but also don't think that this is a World Series or bust year. There's certainly more that needs to be done.
Did you just say World Series or bust? I don't think that was ever in the question. I don't.
No,
think
but every team starts 0-0.
No, yes, but not every single team says World Series or bust this year. That's not a thing.
Well, the Red Sox, I think, are one of the teams that you could think every year they could compete and they could be a World Series or bust organization. And I just don't think that is going to be this upcoming season. But it's going to be a lot of fun. Make sure that you go to the ball games. Make sure that you cheer as loud as you can. And just have fun. Be Boston.
Right. We're getting a little corny in here. We're getting a little corny out here.
Happens.
Go to the games. Cheer as loud as you can.
I'm sorry. That was just funny to me. Speaking of fans, the fans that are cheering Carlos Correa this season are the Minnesota Twins, not the New York Mets. And why exactly that was, obviously, we all know the story of the physicals. Correa's botched physicals with both the Mets and the Giants. However, this week it came out. Scott Boras revealed why the Mets had so many issues with Correa's physical as well as the Giants. No. Well, rather, why they had the same problems with Correa's physical as the Giants did.
Yes.
And it was because the Mets insisted on using the same doctor that the Giants did for Correa's physical, which in theory, obviously you're going to get the same results.
Very parallel move there.
Yeah,
very parallel.
it's a very odd situation because were they expecting to hear something different if they used the exact same doctor? Not only that, but Boras also said that they gave the Mets 4 different doctors with an opinion on Correa, and they didn't use any of their opinions. They only used the same opinion from the Giants.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe that's where all that contract trouble came from and why both sides were so frustrated. Because it seems like the Boras side was like, hey, look at these doctors and what they're saying about Correa. Don't just look at that one doctor. And it seemed like the Mets wanted to just be like, no, we're going to look at this doctor. He knows what he's talking about. We trust him. Which there is also something in that. Like, hey, we know this doctor. We trust him more than we trust the other doctors. So we're going to listen to him instead of your doctors who we don't really know who they are.
Yes. I want to know the qualifications of the one doctor that the Mets listen to. I really do. I want to know what makes him so much more qualified than any other doctor, any other professional that they could have spoken to about the issue with Carlos Correa's ankle and knee.
He must be some doctor.
He must be some doctor. I mean, he must have invented the knee and the ankle at this point. I don't know what the hell to say.
Yeah, honestly.
I just, I can't believe it. It makes sense. You know, trust whoever you want to trust in that situation when it comes to the health and well-being of a guy who you might hand a $300 million contract to. But you should also think about maybe listening to some other opinions because you can't only take one opinion at face value. But what's done is done. Correa is a Twin, and a Giant, and a Met.
And a Met. No, but he's
And
officially...
an Oakland Athletic.
He's officially a Minnesota Twin for next season.
Yep. The next 6 seasons.
Next 6 seasons, yeah, at least. Unless he gets traded, obviously. But, yeah, no, I just found that situation interesting. Especially with a team like the Mets, you would figure... But I don't want to go too far as to say that because they could have very well really, really, really trusted their doctor or the doctor that did the physical originally. And who knows, maybe the doctors Boras was giving them were not like the big name doctors that they wanted. They wanted better opinions, and it's like whose word holds more value. I think it was one of those situations.
I definitely also think that Boras is the type of guy to, pay money under the table, say that he's fine. Say that he's fine. I need my money. Here.
I don't know.
That's a Scott Boras thing to do. That's a Scott Boras thing.
Maybe.
To do. You cannot convince me otherwise.
I mean, based on the character of who Scott Boras is, I could see how that's reasonable. Do I think he actually did that? No. We are not accusing Scott Boras of anything here. But I agree, his character is one of the type that you could kind of see him doing that. But we'll see. We'll see if he gets injured with the Twins. I mean, I hope he doesn't. Correa's a fun guy to watch when he's healthy, so I hope he doesn't get injured with the Twins.
Agreed.
We'll see, though. Speaking of players who we don't know what team they were on, we don't know what team they're on. Trevor Bauer is officially a free agent, able to be signed by any team for the league minimum. Where do you see him going?
I still think I'm going to stick strong with my Reds prediction. I think that if there's any place for him to go and get his career back on track, it's the Reds. And that's where I'm going to cut off my sentence.
That's fair. I'm going to go with the Padres. I think, in my eyes, the Padres are the front runner. They don't have a number 4 or 5 starter.
Well, they do. They're just relievers.
Exactly. They don't have actual starters at their 4 and 5 positions in the rotation. So I think Bauer would be a very good fit for that team. Going back to the NL West, being able to play against the Dodgers a bunch this season, it would be a very fun matchup to watch. And I'm very, in my head, that is my dream place for Bauer to go this season. And imagine he has a Cy Young type year. That would just be a slap in the face to the Los Angeles Dodgers. So I would love to see that for the storyline.
All right. Well, only time will tell what's going to happen with Trevor Bauer and basically
It was just
the
his
MLB.
birthday. It was just his birthday. He turned 32 or
Wow.
33.
33, probably.
He turned something. He turned an age, probably.
It's 33. It's got to be.
But yeah, so we'll see what happens with Bauer. I'm excited. He will be signed for the league minimum. I said that the league minimum is $720,000, but he's already making $22.5 million anyway this season from the Dodgers. So at that point, does he really care that much? No, I think he just wants to be playing in Major League Baseball next season. So we'll see what happens. All right, what do you got? Do you want to talk about? Let's talk about the Padres. I just mentioned them as getting Bauer. They did make a signing since our last episode. Do you want to tell everyone what that signing was?
The Padres have signed Nelson Cruz to a 1-year, $1 million contract, basically to DH for them and kind of, come up if they do need a pinch hit opportunity or something of that sort. Good signing. Just simple, dry, good signing. Cruz definitely still has, which sounds weird to say because I think he's going to be 40, almost 43 by the time the season starts. I think he has more in the tank than we actually think. I mean, if your nickname is Boomstick, I think you're still good to play in MLB.
I agree. I think it's a really good signing, like you said. I also think he will be the primary DH for that team. But I also think we could see him at first base maybe a couple times next season, dare I say. I'm not saying by any stretch of the imagination that he's going to be their platooning or anything. But I think when they want...
Who would you even platoon with? Who's their first baseman?
Well, Cronenworth is probably going to be their first baseman this season.
Damn, that's disrespectful.
Because they have Ha-Seong Kim for second base, and Ha-Seong Kim can't play first base. So it seems like Cronenworth will play first base. But I could see every once in a while Kim gets a rest day, or Cronenworth gets a rest day, or Bogarts gets a rest day, and we do see Nelson Cruz at first base. Because we saw him play first base a couple games last season with the Nationals. So I don't want to rule it out of the question. I take that back. He did not play any games at first base, but we did see him play one game at first base with the Rays 2 seasons ago. That's what I was thinking of.
Go.
But I could see him doing that. If the Padres really need him to, he definitely can play first base. He's Nelson Cruz. He's a big man. He's Nelson Cruz. He can play first base. I don't know. I could see that being how it works, because there's no way Nelson Cruz just... But there also is a way that Nelson Cruz just DHs the entire season. So
I think, yes, I agree with you. I think it's going to have to be some sort of, like, full lunar eclipse moment, like something that really doesn't happen too often, for Nelson Cruz to wind up playing defense. And that's not a knock on him. It's just a knock on the fact that there are players that are better than him defensively who can play the position. So that's the way that I look at it. I don't think that we will see him play first base once this season.
Okay. So, okay, that's fair. Yeah, the Padres lineup is looking pretty good to me. Ha-Seong Kim, Soto. I hope Soto comes MVP form this season. Fun to watch when he's MVP form. They're getting Tatis back, Machado, Bogarts, Carpenter, Austin Nola, Trent Grisham. Are the Padres the favorite to win the NL West?
They're my favorite to win the NL West. But it would
They're my favorite too. I think they are the favorite to win the NL West this season.
But it would also not surprise me if the Dodgers just dodgered again and, went out, won 100+ games and kind of just owned the division. But their lineup has taken steps back.
The Dodgers lineup has taken steps back. I was
their
I
lineup
fully
and
agree.
their pitching staff too.
They lost Tyler Anderson.
Yep. They have oh my god, what the hell's his name?
What? Well, they this season so far they've lost Tyler Anderson, Andrew Heaney, Craig Kimbrell, who wasn't great for them anyway, Tommy Kahnle, Chris Martin. And that's all the pitchers they lost. But their team did take a decently big step back this season.
Yeah, which is crazy to think about because since like what would you say, like 2013 basically, 2011, the Dodgers have been just this unstoppable force in the National League West, and to think that now we're going to see it after 10 plus years of it being a more open race, a more, like who really knows what's going to happen type of thing, it's wide open, which sounds weird to think about, but it is.
It is, because, well, I think it's also hard because last season their team was such a powerhouse and literally the best team on paper we've seen in a very long time. I think it was like hard to top that, and losing Trey Turner I think was the biggest part of that, which is why I don't view this lineup the same, rather than like not talking about pitching stat, the lineup itself. I think the fact that Trey Turner is not in there is why I view it a lot differently. They still don't have a third outfielder. Right now it's a guy who's played not too many games in his
Wait, really?
MLB career.
What's their lineup? Give me the Dodgers lineup.
Mookie Betts obviously right field.
Yes.
Freddie Freeman.
First base.
Will Smith.
Catcher.
Max Muncy.
Third.
Third, yeah. JD Martinez DHing. Gavin Lux at shortstop.
Mm-hmm.
Trace Thompson at center field. Chris Taylor at second base, and then James Outman is listed as their left fielder this season. So it's a weird spot for the Dodgers right now. I think a couple of spots in their lineup is a little up for air, questionable.
No, it's not. It's Gavin Lux at second, Miguel Rojas at short.
No.
And Chris Taylor in left.
Yeah, you know what? I could ride with that, but
we forgot about Miguel Rojas. Let's talk about it.
I didn't. Whoa. I did not forget about Miguel Rojas.
Whoa.
Don't you dare accuse me of forgetting about Miggy Rowe. All right, come on. Tell us.
The Dodgers have made a trade. They traded basically like their 15th ranked prospect in their system.
Yes, James Amaya.
For the Miami Marlins shortstop Miguel Rojas. Miguel Rojas comes back to the team to which he debuted in the majors with kind of a I don't want to call it a nothing move because it is the Dodgers, and I wouldn't be surprised if now he hits 306 with 18 home runs and 109 RBIs, but doesn't make the Dodgers any more scary to me until the season starts and we get to see how the lineup really works.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, Miguel Rojas has the ability to be a very, very good player, and he has been a very, very good player. It's almost weird when the Marlins traded him. I kind of didn't believe it because
I didn't think that it would happen.
He was their guy. He was their captain almost. He was what felt like the middle of their clubhouse. So I was a little taken back, but in return they got back a shortstop prospect who was pretty good in the minors last year. He batted .261 in the minors last year with a I believe in the 700 OPS range, 735-ish. I was just a little taken back.
Yeah, it just didn't seem like the Marlins would actually do something like that, which kind of makes sense now that I think about it, that the Marlins did trade him away because they did sign Gene Segura earlier this offseason, and they want to try to transition Jazz into a shortstop maybe? And Miguel Rojas, I mean, he would start every day. There's no question about it.
Right, but yeah, I think after the signing of Gene Segura, I kind of figured that Miggy Rowe either wasn't going to start every day or he was going to become a third baseman. Or the trading was in my head. I don't think that's the first thing I expected. It seems like their shortstop this season is going to be either Jazz Chisholm or Joey Wendell, which I'm fine with. As a resident Marlins fan, I am perfectly okay with that. Gene Segura might be at third. He might be at second. They have a lot of infielders that can play positions.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, I think it's the best. I think it would be best scenario to leave Jazz Chisholm at second. I think that would be the smartest move for them because I think Jazz Chisholm needs to develop, and I don't think he really should be worrying about how his defense is at a completely new position, being shortstop. And we've seen people like Gleyber Torres move from second to short.
We've seen it firsthand.
And as a young player, that can affect how the rest of their play is. So I think Jazz should be playing second next season. and I think he probably will, unless he wants to make that change, unless he's been working on it. But I think Jazz will be playing second. I at least hope he will, unless he could put it together at short, which would be awesome too. But I don't know. But the Miguel Rojas trade, I like it. Shortstop for shortstop. I don't think he fully fit on that Marlins team. I think the Dodgers needed another infielder, so get Miggy Rowe. I think it all kind of worked out. I don't really mind it. I'm excited to see Miguel Rojas in LA next season.
Yeah, I agree. There's not really too much more to add on. I think you hit every major keystroke type of deal. Just the Dodgers, I think, are going to be a little bit more lackluster, but if they put it together, don't be surprised if they win another National League West title.
I agree. I do think that, in my eyes, the Padres still are the favorites, even though they do not have a fourth and fifth starter, and their bullpen could be a little shaky at times. But I would still say the Padres are my favorite. And if they sign Bauer, they're definitely my favorite. Like,
All right.
not even close. Yeah. Speaking of veterans of the game signing with teams, Trey Mancini signs with the Chicago Cubs.
Yeah. Pretty interesting. Because now, think about it, the Cubs have Eric Hosmer, Frank Schwindel, Trey Mancini, and soon Luke Voigt. They have 4 first basemen.
Every episode.
They right now they have 3 first basemen on their lineup. Wait, is Frank Schwindel their first baseman?
No.
Oh no, he's not. Wait, who the hell?
You alright?
Who the hell plays first for the Cubs?
While you figure that out, the deal is 2 years, $14 million. So Mancini will, like you said, either be playing first base or DHing or the occasional outfield start. He doesn't really fit in their outfield, so I'd say no. I'd say he's either DH or first baseman. Their first baseman is Eric Hosmer.
No, I'm saying who plays it for them. Like, who has played it. It's
Eric Hosmer.
No,
I thought
it's
you were
Frank
saying
Schwindel.
But I thought you were saying who's their first baseman. It's Eric
There's
Hosmer.
3 of them.
It's Eric Hosmer. 2016 World Series MVP. I feel like if anyone would be on the Eric Hosmer train, it'd be you. I mean, I didn't know you hated Eric Hosmer.
All-Star Game MVP.
Yeah, 2016 All-Star Game MVP, Eric Hosmer. I didn't know you weren't on his train anymore.
Listen, I am. Don't get me wrong. The 2016 All-Star Game MVP, Eric Hosmer, is still, like, my guy. However, he did kind of screw over Luke Voigt. And Luke, the Duke, 2020 home run champion.
Comes first,
no matter what.
That's fair. But I like the Mancini signing. Why not take a flyer on him? He wasn't great last season.
Yeah.
But he's a good clubhouse guy too.
Hey, but
he's a World Series champion.
He was also a World Series champion, and that's what matters.
The Cubs are building this kind of lineup of former World Series champions. Dansby Swanson, 2021 with the Braves. Eric Hosmer, 2015 with the Royals. Trey Mancini, last season with the Astros.
Yep.
Cody Bellinger, 2020 with the Dodgers.
The Doyers.
Who else? Who else they got?
I think
that's it. But that's all from this offseason that they've retained.
No.
No, that's it. That's all from this offseason that they've retained.
Didn't they sign a reliever?
That's all from this offseason that they retained, all these World Series guys. So they want that veteran presence in the clubhouse. They want the guys that know how to win. And for this Cubs team, it's baffling me because I cannot figure out if they are going to be good or mid this season.
Do we think that both teams in Chicago go 81 and 81? How do you feel about that?
I could see it happen. I could see this team going 81 and 81. I could see this team going 81 and 81, and it just confuses me, this team. Because on paper, it's a very good team. But I don't know. Something about it. I don't know if I'm the only one who feels this way, but
the thing is, with on paper, you haven't seen how anything plays out in the field quite yet. You know, like, as much as we could say, oh, MVP Cody Bellinger could be coming back, which I feel like we've been hearing for about 3 years now, which kind of wishful thinking. We could see a resurgence with Eric Hosmer, or Trey Mancini, which it doesn't sound crazy, but then when you think about the type of seasons that they've had in the past, it kind of does sound crazy. And then most importantly, Dansby Swanson, who I think is the surefire best player on the Cubs without a question.
No question.
Like he's the only one that if someone said to me, "Oh yeah, we're gonna get that 2020 like that second half of 2022 Dansby Swanson for this whole season," I'll be like, "Yeah, I'll buy into it."
Well, you could also make that argument with Cody Bellinger. We're going to get that 2018-2019 Bellinger.
Right, but that's so far. Like, there's more.
I get that,
There's more stats to show that he declined since then.
The first 3 weeks of the 2022 season, Eric Hosmer was MVP.
He was batting like .492.
So we'll see if they can get that all year.
They played the Reds like 5 games in a row.
You know what? Impromptu biter spit. Eric Hosmer batting over .492 next season.
Bite it.
I'm gonna bite it as well.
Bite it.
But yeah, this Cubs team just confuses me a lot. I'm excited to watch them. I actually think I will be watching a lot of Cubs games next season, just because of how much they confuse me. And I guess obviously once the season starts, they'll either confuse me even more, or I'll be like, okay, this is where this team is at. So I'm excited to watch them be maybe good.
Who the hell knows? That's the way that I'm going to look at it. I think whatever the Cubbies get out of their players they should be thankful for, but don't bank on everyone being an MVP candidate.
Yep, I agree. And that should segue us perfectly into the rumor mill.
The rumor mill.
Lewis's rumor mill. I'm going to sing a jingle now. It's the rumor mill. It's Lewis's rumor mill. Just for Lewis, it's Lewis's rumor mill. Welcome to Lewis's rumor mill, where Lewis tells us a couple rumors and we say, hey, that's bullshit, or we say, yeah, that's pretty cool. Lewis, what rumors do you got for us today?
Let's just start with the newest rumor that I want to speak about, at least. Aroldis Chapman, known fireball pitcher, was on both the Reds and the Yankees and the Cubs, is sort of drawing interest from teams now, which is interesting after how he handled the 2022 postseason and how he performed last season. One of those teams is the boys down south, the Miami Marlins. They're considering him along with 3 other unnamed teams at the moment. What do you think those 3 unnamed teams are?
First of all, I'm going to say I would love Aroldis Chapman on the Marlins. He lives in Miami.
Boys down south, yep. South Florida guy.
Those 3 other teams, who could I see being interested in Aroldis Chapman? The Blue Jays.
Really?
They had Roberto Osuna. Oh, well, I guess they kind of got rid of him afterwards.
Yeah.
But maybe the Blue Jays. They do need bullpen. There was another team I had in mind because they picked up a guy who had kind of the same persona as Chapman. I don't know, maybe the Angels.
I think one team stands out to me that I think could interest.
Well, what 3 I'll throw it right back at you. What 3 teams do you think have the chance to sign Aroldis Chapman?
So one, I think that the San Francisco Giants have at least tried to contact him. I don't think that Chapman wants to move that far away from his home, which brings me to my next one. I genuinely do think that maybe the Twins have reached out because the Twins do need some form of bullpen help besides Johan Duran, right? Is that how you say it?
Yeah.
Yeah. And the third team, which I think is the most likely team to sign him, to get his name onto that contract, the Texas Rangers. What would not be more entertaining than seeing Aroldis Chapman come in after DeGrom goes 8 innings of one-hit ball just to see Chapman blow the lead?
Yeah, of course. And the Rangers do kind of need bullpen too, so why not take the flyer on Chapman if he could be lights out once again?
Yeah, and I think that he still has the ability to. It's just more of Chapman was very, how do I say this in like a not disrespectful way? He was very, ignorant in the process of continuing to maintain his body health and continuing to try to improve upon his skill set that he already has, which is why we saw so many issues with his control last season. on the Yankees.
Got a little too cocky.
Got overly cocky, and it all came crashing down for him in the 2022 postseason when he was told that he was not guaranteed a roster spot and he would have to compete for it. And instead of him competing for it and trying his hardest, what did he do? He didn't tell anybody, and he went back to his home in South Florida and cut off all contact with the New York Yankees.
Yeah.
Bad luck.
Bad
luck.
Bad luck, but I do think there are teams that could still take him.
Mm-hmm.
I'd say, Marlins would be my NL team. Rangers would be my AL team.
That's fair. I like it.
I like that. What you got? Any other rumors?
Let me.
If not, it is what it is.
Another one. I'm gonna keep on harping on it because every day more and more stuff comes out about this topic that just makes it more glaring how crazy some MLB executives could be. Most MLB executives around the league are saying that the Brian Reynolds price is beyond not worth it. That anything that the Pirates are asking for should be bare minimum cut in half, which I do agree with because I think they, as we had mentioned, I think we talked about it ourselves or we mentioned it here on the podcast. The Pirates want a sort of Juan Soto deal for a guy who is very clearly far from Juan Soto, as is 99.9% of all baseball players ever.
Yeah.
Brian Reynolds is a good ball player. He is not, a once-in-a-lifetime generational talent. He's a switch-hitting outfielder, which, for the Yankees, they have one in the minor leagues that could be just as good. You can probably find 100 of them if you go to every town in America playing college or high school baseball. It's just something that I think the Pirates are overvaluing, and it worries me because Brian Reynolds does deserve to compete. That I don't think is even a question. He does deserve to compete. He is a great player, but if he were to go somewhere, it would need to be someone selling an arm and a leg.
Yeah. With the whole competing thing, Mike Trout also deserves to compete, and he's been stuck in LA for...
Well, he did that to himself. I don't blame Mike Trout.
Yeah, but you know what I mean. Sometimes it is what it is.
Yeah.
But yeah. Is that all the rumors you got?
Uno mas. Aaron Judge, 2022 American League MVP, 2022 American League home run record of 62, is being given the key to the city. That's pretty cool.
It's cool.
That's cool. It's not a rumor, but I wanted to mention it because I think that it's really cool. And just as the Yankees chief of staff, Yankees executive, I forget who was at the Carlos Rodon press conference.
Gotcha.
Had said the Yankees have always and will continue to be the figure, the face of New York baseball, and that just shows as good as the Mets can get, Aaron Judge is being given a key to the Mets city.
Yeah, I also did want to say something about Aaron Judge. Do you think he's going to be wearing a C on his chest this season?
No, they never have done.
I don't think so either, but you never know if something could change, and I did see it being a conversation at one point, so I just wanted to put that out there. I don't see it happening either. They haven't really ever put a C on their captain's chest. That's not really also baseball that haven't really done that too much. It's not like hockey or whatever. But yeah, no, I don't think he will either. I just wanted to throw that out there. Now we can get into our final segment of the episode, Bite or Spit. This is the segment where I say a take. I say a number, a player reaching this number, or a team reaching this number, or this happening, and we either bite it, meaning we think it will happen, or we spit it, meaning it will not be happening. So I have two today for this episode. We talked about Nelson Cruz. We talked about the possibility of him playing first base. I think I already know the answer to this from you. Nelson Cruz playing over 3 games at first base this season, bite or spit?
I'm going to spit that. I don't think he plays a single game there.
Okay. I'm going to bite it because I think there could be a world. And I think if it does happen, I'd rather be wrong and saying, hey, maybe that could happen rather than being right with him just playing DH all season. So I'm going to bite it. I'm going to bite it. All
right, that's fair.
And then my final bite or spit, the Cubs winning 82 or more games.
Spit. 81 and 81.
I'm gonna go spit too. 81 and 81 is what I think. 81 and 81. The Chicago Cubs will be the most mid team this season.
No, because the Chicago White Sox will always find a way to outmid them.
No, that's a tie then. If they're both 81 and 81.
No. But I'm talking like the stats will show more that, like statistically, like the graphic that went viral with the Chicago White Sox and Brett Gardner.
Yeah, I got you.
I think we're gonna see something like that again.
Okay, fair. Is that all we have for this episode? I think it is.
I believe that's it. That's it.
Give us a wrap.
That's it. It with the pit. My armpit.
All right, this has to be stopped. This has to be stopped. We thank you guys for listening, watching, viewing, subscribing, like, share, tell your friends, do whatever you want. If you enjoyed, obviously. And we will see you guys in the next one. Peace out.
A-Town.